I thought I'd capture a little bit more here, ladies and gentlemen. See the beautiful mountains off in the distance as we fall off this hill. I like to catch these videos as we're coming off of a hillside, just to show what we see as we get a better picture of the horizon that way. Again, you can see the snow-capped mountain way off in the distance. I believe that would be the range where the Tetons, etc., are located. And as you look this way, we just do a little panoramic view here. Catch what we can catch. Phone almost ran out of charge, so I had to plug it in. So that last video, I had to terminate it to get the camera plugged in. I'm not sure what's historic about the Fort Phil Kearny site, but I don't think I'm gonna stop and look. There were many forts built out this way back in the early days as America followed what they called their manifest destiny and moved west. And so they built many little forts along the way, for both protecting and assisting the travelers headed west by wagon train, etc., as well as the stage systems and the mail systems, and later on the train systems as they built the tracks this way. So could have been one of those little forts along the way. I'm not a great historian, I guarantee you. History was one of my worst subjects in school. I don't know. As a kid, I just never was interested in it. It was so much memory work, I guess, and I got kind of a poor memory anyway. I didn't like to read, and so it required a lot of reading and a lot of memory work. And I regret that to this day, because had I studied history better, I would certainly enjoy traveling across the country more, because I would remember a lot of this stuff that I just guess at now. I catch a little bit off of the internet when I'm going to travel through places. I just kind of read through the internet a little bit about them, but I wish I had been a better history student. I had a wonderful friend, or have a wonderful friend, he's still around, who was probably one of the greatest historians, as far as I was concerned, I ever knew. At least he made me believe he knew it all. He could talk about the Civil War battles, or as I call the War of Yankee Aggression, or as a Southerner. And of course the Northerners called it really the War of Southern Rebellion or Southern Secession. So anyway, I never understood the term Civil War, because if you're at war, you're not civil. And so I never understood that term. I think a war between the states or something of that nature is much better. But anyway, that's just me. But he could talk about that war, and in great detail. He could talk about World War I, World War II in great detail, and as well as he could talk about just general history. So he read a lot, and he really studied his history. I regret that I didn't do that. I was not a prolific reader when I was a kid. Just didn't like to sit and read. I would rather be out hunting or fishing or just out playing. My brother was he's a prolific reader and has a mind like a steel trap, they might say. If he read it, he remembered it, or does remember it. I don't want to talk about him past tense, because he's not. And But growing up as a kid, when he read it, he remembered it, and was an excellent student in school. We'd bring our report cards home, and he'd have all A's, and I'd have C's and D's, and maybe occasional C, maybe an occasional B. I don't think I ever got a A in any subject in high school. So when I got off to college, finally after serving in the military, I decided it was time for me to go get a college education. I did pretty well in college, but I had settled down then and realized the value of education. So it's something you really need to realize early on as a child, and put your mind to it and let the other stuff slide. There's always time for play later in life. So anyway, I just was not a good student of history, and now it comes back to haunt me, because I do like history now. I do like going to places of historical significance. So enough about that. These videos are supposed to be to show you the countryside, and I'm not doing that. I'm talking. Distracting. So anyway, I'll pause it for a little while, and we'll see what we catch along the way. Well, it's kind of interesting as I'm riding along through here. You see these little, whoops, see if I can get that to come in view. Yeah, there it is, right through that wire. Little peaks, interesting little peaks. See if we can catch. See if we can catch it that way. Now, we'll see if we can catch one here in a minute. But you find them just little peaks poking up out of the ground. Very interesting to me, anyway. Hope it is to you. Crawl over this hill and see what we see. Maybe we can catch a view or something. There we go. Yeah. I'm gonna just swing it over there. I hope I'm getting them. One of those cases where I can't look at the video. So it's I hope I got them, but they're just little, maybe 50 feet tall, 100 possibly. They're out in the distance. They just kind of rise up out of the ground and almost look like little teepees out there. Thought that kind of interesting as we drive along through here. We're somewhere east of Buffalo, Wyoming, heading east on 95. I mean I-90. It's not 95. 95's a long ways from here. Hey. Crazy Woman Creek. That was pretty interesting. Crazy Woman Creek Road. Wonder who the crazy woman was. Now over there you can see some of those little peaks rising up. They're not quite as sharp there as they were in earlier. Earlier ones looked, like I said, like teepees. But they just kind of rise up out of the ground. Crazy Woman Creek. do find some interesting names of places when you travel. That at least I do, and I often wonder, how in the world they get that name? What happened there that caused them to get such a name? 50 miles from Gillette, Wyoming. I had a choice back there in Buffalo whether I went down 25 to Casper and across Nebraska and Iowa, or stayed on Nanny and went across South Dakota and Minnesota down to Iowa and across to Illinois. I really like the route through South Dakota better, and I'm hoping we'll catch some glimpse of the Black Hills. And we do go by pretty near Dead Horse, so we may whip into Dead Horse, just check it out, see what Dead Horse looks like on the way. Videoing this way better. I hope y'all do. It gives me the flexibility to aim the camera better. You do unfortunately catch a little of the dash in the picture and the mirror and things of that nature, but I'm able to spin the camera around a little bit better. I'll try when I stop to get fuel to clean the windows good all the way around, and maybe that'll help some. It also gets the camera a little bit closer to me for being able to project my voice to the camera better. All right, I'm going to pause it for a bit, and then we'll get back to you. I'm going to catch a little bit more here as we travel along and let you see just the vastness, expanse of the countryside out here. I can just imagine cowboys riding across here, and back in the day, the wagon trains traveling through here before the roads were here, and just so natural, so uninterrupted, maybe I would say. But I can just imagine all the, as I've said earlier, and if you watch some of my earlier videos, you know I'm a big fan of Western movies, and I can just imagine cowboys riding across here, and as well as the Indian folks, the tribal people, maybe is a better term, who didn't really want them encroaching on their lands, and they had settled these lands or had lived in these lands for so many years, and they kind of considered them theirs, even though there was constant battles between the different tribes. I had read earlier where the conglomeration of the Cheyenne and the Lakota and the Arapaho tribes had banded together and were in the process of taking basically the lands of the Crow and one other tribe, I forget which one it was, and that the Crow had asked the U.S. Cavalry or the U.S. Military to step in and defend their lands for them, or help them defend their land. And that may have been what kind of led to the Battle of Little Bighorn. I don't know. But So there were times that the different tribes would battle with each other. And I can just imagine riding across these fields or these mountains and lands and doing battle with one another. Must have been something back then. You see how far we are between mountains, between cities, and when you've got nothing but a horse and maybe a buggy to travel with, those are long, long days. We're probably traveling 400 miles today. They would be looking at 25, 30 miles a day. So I just think it's interesting. Hope you do. Maybe we'll find us some buffalo along here. I hope to be able to stop and have a bison steak, or at least a bison burger. I know they have them at Wall Drug in Wall, South Dakota. And my sweet wife Beverly and I stopped there a couple of times. One when we were going to I forget what they call it now, but it's a national park, and we did a walk-in wall. We did a Volks March there, but they have everything. Wall Drug has everything. They have a restaurant. They have check out that gully right there. They have a restaurant. They have they actually have drugs, medical drugs. Medicine, I'll put it that way. They are actually a drugstore, and they sell all sorts of souvenir stuff. We are a long ways from Wall, South Dakota, and I've already started seeing signs for Wall, and they get more and more prolific as we go. And we just loved it. We had a great time there. We stopped and had a meal there. I think I had the bison burger. I don't remember what Beverly had. Good possibility she kind of ate some of mine, and most likely had some vegetables or a salad. But Wall Drug is very interesting if you haven't been there. If you're ever out in South Dakota and you have the opportunity to drive to Wall Drug, do it. The area I was talking about, it's finally come to me. You know, I'm old and can't remember things very well sometimes. But the area I was talking about was the Badlands. And the drive through the Badlands was amazing, seeing the territory. It was an awful lot like driving through when we were in Arizona. I think it was Arizona. Or it might have been New Mexico. I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look at the video. But you remember when we drove through the painted deserts and petrified forest? Well, it's a lot like that. And but the Badlands was a very interesting drive. Very, very interesting drive. And so we won't drive it on this trip. It's a slow, long drive, so we probably won't take you through there. But if you're ever out in that direction, I highly recommend a trip through the Badlands. You can park and you can walk out into the desert. You have to watch for certain times of year. Got to watch for them rattlesnakes, because they're certainly out there. So just be aware. If you ever get that opportunity to go out there, just keep your eyes peeled. I'm going to pause you again for a little bit, and we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, folks, we're stopping at in Gillette, Wyoming for fuel. So I'm going to shut this video off, and we'll try to figure something else along the way. Talk to y'all later. Bye.